Hey, it's Heather from the Pixel Gamer Girls, and today I'm going to be making, for my own design, werewolf chili. I'd like to mention that no werewolves were harmed in the making of our werewolf chili, but a few were invited over for dinner. So let's get to the ingredients. First of all, my chili is going to be mostly meat. I do have a can that has some beans and corn and stuff in it, but that's because Lyrical wanted some of that. Here we have some sirloin, some steak, and some buffalo. And if I don't use all that, I'll freeze some of it. It's all good. Also have some Worcestershire sauce, some spices, onions, peppers. Got my corn, I got tomato, got a packet of chili seasoning, got some tomatoes, got my stock, I've got some sugar. Yeah, I'll play it by ear. Let's go. Alright, we're going to start by sauteing up our vegetables I just chopped up, which is hitting the other glass, of course. Onion, pepper, tomatoes, and a little tiny bit of jalapeno I had left over. I'm going to be using my Instapot to cook this because it has a slow cooker setting. It also has a saute setting, which is what it's on right now. And that way I can saute up stuff and then add the juices and tomatoes later and make it all great. Let's start with cooking that meat and the veggies first. And mind you, if you don't have an Instapot like I do, you can honestly just cook this in the bottom of a really big pot on low and then add in your juices and your liquids. Or you can saute it all into a pan and then cook it into a crock pot. Many different ways to do this, but this is how I'm going to be doing it. First off, I decided we're going to be browning up our meat. So let's get the steak part of that cooking in the bottom of our pot, because the hamburger part has all day to cook. Well, I guess so does the steak, but hey. Yeah, lied, I'll put our buffalo in at least. And while the meat's simmering in the bottom of the pot, we're going to add in some sugar, salt, pepper, spices, other than the chili packet I have. Dump that all in. Mix that in thoroughly. Also added a little garlic to the mix. Alright, we put in our Worcestershire sauce. We're going to be cleaning out the bowl with a little bit of water. Can mix all that together. Add in our vegetables. I'm not too worried about the meat getting cooked first, because it's about to slow cook for like 4 to 5 hours or more, so. And last but not least, I'm going to sprinkle in my chili sauce and get that all incorporated into the vegetables and the meat. While this is sauteing up, I want to mention the Gamers and Geeks Can Cook playlist, which is a playlist composed of all gamers, nerds, and geeks that can cook like myself. And if you want to be a part of the list, all you have to do is make a cooking video and mention the list in it. And you're on the list. It's an amazing list full of very talented people. So, get on going. Get cooking. Once all this is pretty brown, I'm going to be putting in some more tomatoes. And I wasn't going to put it in, but Lyrical wanted a can of some corn. So I got Southwest corn that has some beans in it. Now, whether or not the werewolves would put the beans and corn in their chili is beyond me. But, you know the motto, happy wife, no bitching later. Alright, I have that all mixed up together. And last but not least, I'm going to put some water and some beef stock into my chili. And get that all mixed up. Now, you can add in more spices. You can add in the whole pack of chili. You can add in jalapenos, habaneros, whatever you want. Hell, there was one time I added kumquats to it because I thought they were tiny tomatoes and didn't know any better when I first started cooking. And it was still amazing. Chili is honestly your own creation. But this one's about to cook for probably about 4 or 5 hours. And I am going to switch my Instapot to, where is it? Slow cook.
The werewolf. The werewolf is a mythological creature and the subject of many stories throughout the world, and more than a few nightmares. Werewolves are, according to some legends, people who morph into vicious, powerful wolves. Others are a mutated combination of humans and wolves, but are both bloodthirsty beasts who cannot control their lust for killing people and animals. Early werewolf legends. It's unclear exactly when and where the werewolf legends originated. Some scholars believe that werewolves made their debut in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest known Western poem, when Gilgamesh jilted a potential lover because she turned her previous mate into a wolf. Werewolves made another early appearance in Greek mythology with the legend of the Lycan. According to legend, the Lycan, the son of Polaris, angered the god Zeus when he served him the meal made from the remains of a sacrificed boy. As punishment, the enraged Zeus turned the Lycan and his son into wolves. Werewolves also emerged in early Nordic folklore. The saga of the Volsungs tells the story of a father and son who discovered wolf pelts that had the power to turn people into wolves for 10 days. The father-son duo used these pelts and transformed into wolves and went on a killing rampage in the forest. Their rampage only ended when the father attacked his own son, causing a lethal wound. The son only survived because of a kind raven that gave the father a leaf with the power of healing. Infamous werewolves. Many so-called werewolves from centuries ago were in fact serial killers. The French had their fair share. In 1521, a Frenchman, Pierre Bergot and Michel Verdun, allegedly swore allegiance to the devil and claimed that they had an ointment that had turned them into wolves. After confessing to brutally murdering several children, they both were burned to death at the stake. Burning was, at the time, thought to kill werewolves. Gilles Garnet, known as the Werewolf of Dole, another 16th century Frenchman whose claim to fame was also a ointment with wolf morphing capabilities. According to legend, as a wolf he viciously killed and ate children. He too was burned at the stake for his monstrous crimes. Whether Birgit, Verdun, or Garnet were mentally ill, acted under the influence of hallucinogenic, or simply just cold-blooded killers is up for debate. But likely didn't matter to the superstitious Europeans during the 16th century. To them, this heinous crime could only be committed by the horrific beast such as the werewolf. The Bedburg werewolf. Peter Stubb, a wealthy 15th century farmer of Bedburg, Germany, may be the most notorious werewolf of them all. According to folklore, he turned into a wolf-like creature at night and devoured many citizens of Bedburg. Peter was eventually blamed for the gruesome killings after being cornered by hunters, who claimed to see him shapeshift from wolf to human form. He experienced a gruesome execution after confessing, under torture, to the savage killings of animals, men, women, and children, and then eating their remains. He also declared he owned an enchanted belt that gave him the power to transform to a wolf at will. Not surprisingly, the belt was never found. Peter's guilt is controversial, since some people believe he wasn't a killer at all, but a victim of a political witch hunt, or perhaps a wolf hunt. Either way, the circumstances surrounding his life and death stroke rampant fears at the time that werewolves were on the loose. The shapeshifter as a werewolf. Some legends maintain werewolves shapeshift at will due to a curse. Others state they transform with the help of an enchanted sash or cloak made from a wolf pelt. Still, others claim people become wolves after being scratched or bitten by a werewolf. In many werewolf stories, a person can only turn into a wolf when there is a full moon. A theory that's not too far-fetched. According to a study conducted by the Australian Cavalry Master Newcastle Hospital, a full moon brings out the beast in many humans. The study found that 91 violent, acute behavior occurred at the hospital between August 2008 and July of 2009. 23% happened during the full moon. Patients attacked staff and displayed wolf-like behaviors such as biting, spitting, and scratching, although many were under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It's unclear why they become intensely violent when the moon was full. Are werewolves real? The werewolf phenomenon may have a medical explanation. Take Peter the Wild Boy, for instance. In 1725, he was found wandering naked on all fours throughout Germany's forest. Many thought he was a werewolf, or at least raised by wolves. Research has shown that Peter most likely had Pitt-Hotchkiss syndrome, a condition discovered in 1978 that caused lack of speech, seizures, distinct facial features, difficulty breathing, and challenges mentally. Other medical conditions that may have encouraged the werewolf mania through history are lycanthropy, a rare psychological condition that causes people to believe they are changing into a wolf or another creature; hypertrichosis, a rare genetic disorder causing excessive growth of hair. Throughout the centuries, people have used werewolves and other mythical beasts to explain the unexplainable. In modern times, however, most people believe werewolves are nothing more than pulp culture horror icons, made famous thanks to Hollywood's 1941 The Wolfman. Other books and films have made werewolves their focal point in their stories, such as certain versions of Little Red Riding Hood, Underworld series, and tabletop role-player games such as Werewolf the Apocalypse. Still, werewolves have a cult following. Werewolf sightings are reported each year, and werewolf legends are likely to keep haunting dreams of people all over the world.
Alright. And on is gonna go our lid. We'll check in on that in a few hours. Alright, it has been cooking since this morning. Low. Has about an hour or two left. It's looking pretty good. It just needs some of that liquid to cook out of it. And that's fine. Let me put it on high in the last hour and let it kind of boil out. Or just shut it off and let it absorb into it. We'll see. Looking good though. Alright, our chili is done, and the last thing to do is taste it. So you know what we're gonna do. Be back in a second. Well, that ended up amazing. Personally, I would have made it a little spicier if it was just me, but it's not. And it still tastes amazing. So, I hope you enjoyed learning about lycanthropes and werewolves, and I hope you make chili or something like it soon. I'll see you later.